opening statement, and we'll take some questions. Coach?
Before I get into the game, one of the reasons I wore this tie tonight was for somebody who had what I think is a terrific run at Ole Miss, and that's Coach Andy Kennedy. Obviously, we've all heard the news that he stepped down. And when you're in the SEC and you build relationships with coaches, and sure, we're all trying to recruit some of the same players, and it's very competitive and win games. But when a guy transitions out of the league for whatever reason, it affects all of us coaches. This is a tough job, and Andy did it in a first-class way with a lot of character. He embraced me when I first arrived as being one of the more senior members of the coaching staff or head coaches in the SEC conference. So, I just want to wish him well. I had a chance to text back and forth with him, and I'm sure he's going to have plenty of options after this year. But I tried to wear their colors tonight in honor of Andy. This game, we had a decent first half. We didn't take care of the ball like we needed to, but in the second half, we had about a 7 to 10 minute spurt there that was as good a basketball as we played all year. I have a lot of respect for what Coach Will Wade is doing with his program in his first year. Outstanding young coach. We felt coming into this game we had to slow down Trayvon Waters. If we didn't slow him down, we were going to have a tough night. I thought all of the guys that defended him did as good a job as they possibly could trying to slow him down. Offensively, we shot the ball a lot better. We've been spending more time in practice shooting the basketball instead of doing all of these cute drills. And the byproduct of that, offensively, we made some shots. We shot the ball with confidence, and fortunately, we were able to score enough points to win this game.
Thank you, Coach. Start back right with Cecil.
Coach, I was curious which psychology book you pulled out to get a pretty consistent effort from Saturday to tonight.
My wife said the psychology was going to be the team meal that she prepared for the boys on Sunday. And she said, rather than go to a psychology book, when they come over to our house on Sunday, why don't you spend time individually with all of them and just let them see Avery. They're tired of seeing Coach. So that's the psychology part of it, just building relationships. And she cooked them boys a wonderful meal, and I had a chance to spend time with each one of them, and just trying to get inside their minds. And it was good that they had a chance to see Avery. So rather than read a book, I just spent some intimate time with my players on Sunday at my house.
But Alex?
Coach mentioned that when Colin went out with, I guess, almost 60 minutes left, that lineup with her kind of running the point that basically all have 7-foot wingspans. What is about that lineup that works so well that allowed y'all to obviously lock down defensively, only allow, I guess, 3 points during the 10-minute span? Yeah,
Herb gives us another option. When Colin is in the game or out of the game, or AJ in the game or out of the game, we like Dejan and Herb Jones handling the ball. And obviously we run some stuff for Braxton to handle the ball a little bit when he's at the 4 spot. And we just try to not be so predictable on offense. It's very important for us to have ball movement, player movement. I thought John Petty's shot selection was great tonight. He didn't really force anything. He took what the defense gave him. Whenever we have 4 guys in double figures and the ball moved the way it did, especially in the second half, we can be somewhat of a good team. We got out in transition, found Dante for a couple of incredible plays, and his work in transition in the half court, blocking shots, has been pretty solid for us. He's a great example of a captain. But, you know, getting back to your question, Herb Jones is a guy that we like handling the ball.
Marvin, right?
First, what'd your wife cook for the team?
A little bit of everything. It was, you know, it's Mardi Gras season, right? Today is Mardi Gras in New Orleans, so it was a New Orleans themed meal. So whatever is famous in New Orleans, they had it. Shrimp and grits, jambalaya, yeah, they had it all. Yep.
And second, we've seen Dante Hall continue to improve. What's the next step for him in your opinion?
Down the road, probably developing that 14, 15-foot jump shot. I think that's the next level for him. You know, the focus his first year was just trying to get his body to a point where he could compete in the practice, and let alone the game. And, you know, with Jimmy being here, obviously, you know, hopefully he could get to 15 minutes a game and help us. Last year we tinkered with the lineup a little bit, started him, but his body, you know, developing, because for the most part he's always giving up 30 pounds to his opposing guy that he's playing against. So I just think that 15-foot jump shot probably is the next level for him. And once he develops that, he's been messing around shooting some threes in practice, but it's not time yet.
Let's go, Chandler.
Braxton seemed to come up with it, and he told us that he is settling into that role probably as well as he could imagine settling in that role off the bench. How have you seen him embrace that and really take his game to another level since he's been relegated to that role?
We were searching all year for the right lineup. For whatever reason, you know, guys were out because of injury. Dante went out for surgery. Obviously, we didn't start off the year with Colin. So it's just, it's been a work in progress, but we seem to have settled into a lineup that we like, but you know, who knows, he could very well get back in the lineup. But Braxton's been practicing like a professional and playing like a guy that's in his, you know, second year. That was all SEC freshman team, and he's embracing his role. Not sure if he loves it, but he's embracing it. And he's been helping Alabama. And what he did tonight, that versatility of being able to play inside, his left-handed drive was as good of a left-handed drive I've seen all year. And now balancing that off with making the right passes and playing off 2 feet and, you know, making rhythm threes, taking quality shots. But his leadership in timeouts has really helped us. He and Dante and Herb Jones, their leadership has been good for us.
All the way back, Scott.
Avery, you hold them to 39%. I think they were 11 to 25 second half, and 5 or 6 of those in the last 2 minutes, as you know. As good a help defense as you've played all year, probably, right?
I think it's up there. The last 2 games, the key has been our perimeter guys trying to keep the ball in front of them. When you're playing against Tennessee and the Rick Barnes team, your wing guys better be ready to defend. Okay, and they came in here with a lot of momentum. And not only that, your backline guys, when you're playing against Grant Williams and Schofield, you know, they give a coach sleepless nights. And now on top of it, Reed comes in. He's coming off of a huge performance against Ole Miss. Tremont Waters and Skylar Mays are problems. You got to be ready to play defense. And a lot of our guys have never played this deep, obviously, in the SEC season before, so it's all new to them. And we really hadn't played well early in the week. We seem to have played better on weekends. So trying to get them to balance scouting reports, going to class, study hall, it's all new. It's not an excuse. It's just new. And they seem to have matured a little bit. And the more this team matured, then maybe we can get to that next level, whatever that level is.
Jump over to the left side of the mat.
You guys, it seemed like the ball movement was better. Y'all had 17 assists on 27 made baskets, and then early it was 7 assists on your first 10 makes. What have you thought of, I guess, the improvement in just the ball movement and offensive flow in general over the
Well, it wasn't very good in the first half. We had 3 situations that I can remember where they had 3 on the ball, and we didn't make the correct pass. And that's something we talked about at halftime. Normally we watch video at halftime. We didn't even watch video tonight. I probably normally give them about a 5-minute break before I go and talk to them. I got in there within the first 30 seconds because I was really disappointed with our ball movement in the first half. They corrected it in the second half. When we moved the ball, it's fun to watch, and we're a fast team. You see how fast we can get up the floor, but if we can't score in the first 5 to 7 seconds, we have to be able to move the basketball. Because when you're playing against elite teams and teams that have, lockdown defenders, you cannot play on one side and you can't dribble the ball 19 times and expect something good to happen. But they embraced it, and we had our bench helped us. Reese made a big 3 early in the second half. In the first half, helped us. Braxton played well. Herb Jones has been pretty balanced and consistent. AJ didn't have his best first half, but he came back and got to the free throw line for us in the second half. So that unit is still evolving.
3 more questions, starting with Drew.
Coach, you talked about John Petty taking better shots. What's been the key for him since Missouri, and as far as taking good threes and open shots? And then talk about maybe trying to get him going on the road. Now you have a test like going to Rupp Arena.
You remember when I first got the job here, and you guys asked me what was my speech, what did I give my speech on at the Louisiana Hall of Fame? Remember I told you vision, investment, and execution. With John Petty, when he first arrived, his vision of himself was probably a little bit different than my vision. Okay, I told him he was more than a three-point shooter, and I told him he needed to make an investment at improving in other areas, and you've seen him now execute it. He's shooting the three, he's good shot selection, which is important, but look at his pass on the break to Dante, his interior passing. Now he's getting in the defensive stance, right? He wasn't in the defensive stance in Canada in August, but he's just a kid that's growing up, and that's what I talk to him a lot about. I have a vision for him of how he can really continue to get better, and where he's not so easily guarded on the court and not standing in the same spots. You saw him go backdoor in our last game against Tennessee. That was the first time he went backdoor all year. But he's getting it. He's very coachable. That's what I love about our guys. They're very coachable.
Ryder on the right here. In this age of big men being able to step out and shoot threes, what makes Dante Hall so effective near the rim, and how is he be able to carve out a niche in that capacity?
Well, when you have guys, whether it's Colin, Dejon started off the game making a three, Petty, AG, Reese, Braxton, when you have all of those guys that are capable of making threes, it opens up the floor. And then when they're not open for threes, if they're able to put the ball on the floor the way Colin or Herb or Dejon, AJ, Braxton, those guys can all put the ball on the floor, then it opens things up and it makes you a little bit more balanced where you can play inside and out and outside and in. And some of our guys got really good mid-range games. I know that in some analytics the mid-range is obsolete, but it's not obsolete here all the time. Sometimes it's a good shot. We like threes and we like points in the paint. But I just think when you have all of these guys that have that type of talent where they can shoot the long-range shot or get the ball and drive it to the basket, it keeps defenses off balance when we're not passing the ball to our opponents.
And specifically Dante, what makes him so effective down near the rim?
Because he understands spacing. He's not hiding behind the defender. It takes a long time for a lot of these kids to understand spacing or understand when one of their teammates get trapped. If they can't see you, we can't make the correct pass. You have to make yourself available. He's making himself available.
Last question, John.
We've all seen this team rise to the occasion in some big games, but how important was it in such a short turnaround to kind of bring that same intensity or similar intensity after the Tennessee game?
We haven't been able to, have that high level of concentration and competitive spirit on these short turnarounds. We beat a really good Florida team, and then the next game I don't recognize our team. And we've had that happen so many times this season. But fortunately, we had a pretty animated live shoot around today. Not like the normal shoot around we've had in the past. I think they didn't know what hit them today. They actually broke a sweat today. And it was kind of a borderline practice. So maybe that's what we need to do a little bit more after we win a big game. Just keep them on edge, keep them on edge. I think that's a lot of that's coaching. The X's and O's is not coaching all the time. Going back to my earlier question from Cecil, it's just trying to build relationships, trying to get them to respond, trying to get these kids to respond to what we're teaching, and trying to get them to just trust us to do the right thing. And trust us in what we're telling them is not only going to help Alabama, but it's going to help them also individually. So I'm proud of them, but another big one coming up. You know when the next big game is? You know when the next big game is?
Saturday, I would think.
Thursday at 3 o'clock. Practice. We got to get that one right first. Thanks, guys.